line, and then this huge grin going across his face as he catches the ball. He's a man who loves the game as much now as probably when first he picked up a bat. Yeah. Well done, Yunus Khan.
Well, I did that last year, and the keeper thumped me out of the way. And I had a bruise for about 3 weeks to prove it. I'm 15 minutes behind on tweets. Should I run through it?
Please do, and then we'll get back to JMW Turner.
Knuckle Pandey says, genuine Arnie quote. Should I do it in Arnie speak?
Oh, please.
Money doesn't make you happy. I have $50 million, but I was just as happy when I had 48 million. A slight African tinge there to Arnie. Etchek says, does Gary have a soft spot for Jingle All the Way? Oh, I can think of a soft spot for it.
Yes.
Jinx Jack 1 says, come on guys, we know the best Arnold movie is The Predator. End of discussion.
Yeah, The Predator is a good film.
And from Darkest Brew says, the Lane book, Nobody's Perfect, has some gems in particular. Michael Wagner says, I'd be keen on Nigel's take on this. Cricket Geek's written an article called The Miraculous Metamorphosis of Mark Craig.
Oh, lovely the alliteration.
Well, welcome back to this, the fourth day of the second test between England and New Zealand from Seddon Park, Hamilton in New Zealand. It's looking a little cloudy, but England's prospects, on the other hand, are somewhat sunny. They lead by 4. There are 5 sessions in the day to go, and I'm thinking, I'm throwing it forward a long way here, but I'm thinking that if England can get an hour at them tonight and knock out a couple, perhaps including Kane Williamson, then every result's on the fifth day, certainly in terms of squaring the series. But that's throwing it a little forward. But there's reasons for optimism here. Joe Root on 178, that big 100 he's been waiting for, and Ollie Pope offering excellent support as a keeper batsman batting at number 7. I'm at Gary Naylor 999, and I'm ball by balling. And to my right on the jingle machine.
Hello, I am Tim Pot at Batting Tim on Twitter. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is.
And
hello.
to my left,
Steve Jones on the tweets. Good morning, all.
I know it's a Monday, but that's a rather disappointing turnout, isn't it? I mean, this is a test match
at Seddon Park. You're talking?
Yeah.
I think we're doing
not
quite well
here.
It's a bloody well
turnout here. No, at Seddon Park. I mean, New Zealanders have won the first test. They started the day, certainly, I would suggest, at least 50-50 for this test, and more than that, obviously, for the series, with a draw being sufficient for the Kiwis. But there's a few people sitting on the grassy banks, but they found other things to do in Hamilton. But it's a working day, so
it's that 4-letter word beginning with W.
Yeah. Yes. So about to resume is Tim Southey. We're just seeing a shot of a scene that you never get in England's test matches or international matches these days, but you certainly used to, and you'd still do get at county grounds, where the crowd come onto the square and they all look at the wicket and suck on a thoughtful tooth, and somebody's going to say, oh, looks like it's going to turn later. Somebody always says that. But they allow that sort of thing in New Zealand at these lovely sort of outgrounds, aren't they? They're not where they play the big T20s and ODIs, but they play tests at these lovely little country grounds. And it's Tim Southey off a longer run than I remember Tim Southey having, but he's in. There's not even a slip for Joe Root, and he gets a hideous delivery down the leg side, which bounces almost twice before it reaches BJ Watling, and a gentleman has an enormous 3-scoop cone there, and I think he had the best of the that last 10 seconds. What do you reckon, gentlemen?
He's having trouble getting it past his moustache.
Yes, I think he is. He's taking Movember to a large extent. There's a kind of fly slip.
Especially
There's
since it's December.
Yes, a short extra, a cover point, a mid-off, and Joe Root just drops and runs because that was always there with no point. And England's lead extends to 5. 380 for 5. Root goes to 179, and Ollie Pope on 46. Have we got any tweets there?
No, we have not, unfortunately. I'm flicking away and waiting for people to say hello. So,
well, you know how you can tweet us, because you can tweet us at Gary Naylor 999. Sorry, that's me, isn't it?
Yeah. That's why I'm not getting any tweets.
I've been at work all day. You can tweet us at Gorilla Cricket.
We've still got Ice Cream Man on screen. Either sexist cameraman is losing
Yeah.
his touch, or he's been told to do this by the director.
I'm an ice cream man. Wasn't that Tom Waits, Ice Cream Man? Saudi is in. This is very full, and Pope drives pleasingly. There was probably one there if they'd gone straight away, because mid on was quite deep, but no point in running out another Surrey man. Joe Root's already done that once, has he?
Oh, did he really? I didn't see that. Ooh.
No, I don't think Root was entirely to blame. I think there was a bit of both getting a bit greedy there. But Rory Burns has said there was a slight lack of concentration, possibly, in making a judgment call. It's still no slip. There's a fly slip, though, as Pope gets one that keeps a little bit low, and he punches it off the back foot to the man at short extra. There is a man at point this time, so they can't just drop and run the way they did when Joe Root was on strike, and I think that's probably wise. And Saudi's looking a little weary. Back-to-back tests. England are in the 139th over of their innings. This is a time to cash in. I think England have got to be looking to score 100 runs in this session, really, if they want to force a result. It's no point just going along here trying to score 70 or 60 or something. As Southey is in, this is defended by Pope, and there is no run. There's a little bit of batting to come, and of course all this conjecture about declaration could go out the window if England bring forward one of their collapses.
Well, we were just discussing this in the green room at lunch, actually, and I think Tony and I have decided, we both simultaneously, it was quite spooky really, said 150 as the lead to set New Zealand a little bit of an interesting target, but I think you're right, they've got to get them most of the way through this session, I think.
Yeah, but there is always a spare collapse in the back pocket, isn't there?
There is, and Pope just dabs and tries to do the dab and run, but he probably middled it. If anything, he's hit that too well, as Andy Townsend used to say, I think, on Champions League matches. He hit it too well because he middled it to the man at point, and therefore there was no run. The New Zealand ice cream industry continues to be advertised.
He looks like one of the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, he does. The pork pie hat and the shades give him a bit of a John Belushi look, but the tash gives it a bit more, and the weight gives a bit more of a Craig Stadler.
Yes.
More of a Craig Stadler. Well, this slightly depleted New Zealand attack without Trent Boult, who is probably the best New Zealand bowler over the last 5 years. But the man who I think was a bit unlucky to miss out on the Man of the Match award in the last test
I think so.
is going to have a go. Are we able to jingle him up?
We certainly are. Let's find him. He said desperately going for time. Here.
I bet you hold out, you better not drive, you better not sweep, I'm telling you why. Santa's balls are drifting around. Santa's balls are drifting around.
And Joe Root did a bit of a Stephen Smith there. He knew exactly where there was one, and so he hit it just gently into the offside, ran immediately and rotated the strike, and that's what Stephen Smith does perhaps better than any other player I've ever seen, actually. So Santner round the wicket, left arm, it's very slow, and Pope showing that he's a wicket-keeper, even if he's only a part-time wicket-keeper. Played very much a wicket-keeper's shot there. He crabbed back and cut a ball. It wasn't really there for a cut, but he connected well, but it was fielded at backward point, and there is no run. There is a slip, turning the ball away from the right-handed Pope is Mitchell Satnav, and this ball is on leg stump, and it's just punched to Kane Williamson, who was at mid-on, and there is no run. It's Ross Taylor there at slip. Ross Taylor seems to have been around an awfully long time.
Yeah, he
doesn't
has, doesn't he?
How old is he? One feels he should be like 38, but I bet he's only sort of 34 or something. Mitchell Satnav is in, he gives it that big tweak, and it's very full. It's driven by Ollie Pope, but it's fielded by Tom Latham there at extra cover. I think that's the kind of ball they've got to be looking to hit for four.
And get past that fielder, because they've been
it was
hitting this ring of offside fielders quite consistently.
Yeah, it was a
Especially
half
Pope.
volley that, and he's got to really be getting on with it, even if he's quite new in his career. But again, he's got a half volley, but he picks out Harvey Nichols there at a deepish cover, and they scamper one. I think they've got to be thinking about hitting those balls for 4. It's tossed up, it's inviting the 4 shot, and yet it's a bit of a thickish outside edge, and it's fielded in the ring. We'll come into your tweets.
Yep.
In the end of this over, which is in 1 ball's time. Round the wicket again is sat nav, and this time Joe Root can't get a single to the man at point, and there is no run. England 382 for 5. The lead is 7. I'm fed up with that bloody bloke with the ice cream. Your tweets.
The afternoon session starts with a couple of questions. Why would England declare? The win's not really on the cards, is it? Says Arthur Patricia.
Well, it's definitely not if you don't declare.
Well, it's the reason they would declare, I suspect, is because we're 1-0 down the 2-match series. So a draw is no good to England. England have to dangle the carrot, and I think they've got to be thinking about getting 2, maybe even 3 wickets tonight if they're serious about flogging.
Well, they need
out
as much
of
bowling
pitch.
time as they can get.
Yes, absolutely. So, and then they can't lose.
Which
this
I think
match.
is the answer to the questions.
Yeah, they can't lose this match if they're still batting at 4 o'clock this evening, so to speak. Southey's in, and Ollie Pope there, again showing the wicketkeeper's penchant for the cut. He attempted to cut a ball which was too close to him, got a bottom edge, and was a bit lucky to survive as it went through to BJ Watling. Second question.
The second question was, the wind's not really on the cards, is it? Sorry, there were 2 questions in there. And while I agree with that, unless we do declare, I can't really see that...
I do declare.
Ross Taylor is 35 and a half years old.
Is he 35 and a half?
That's ancient for a cricketer,
Yeah,
isn't it, these
he'll soon
days?
be 35 and 3/4. Adrian Mole was 23 years younger than that, I think. Slashed cut by Ollie Pope, who was really cutting too often. He did connect with that well, but Kane Williamson at backward point did a decent save. But Joe Root's going down there and having a word with Ollie Pope. I think that's wise. He's still an inexperienced player, Ollie Pope, and I think he's just saying to him, don't go looking for the cut all the time.
On the cusp of his first 50 as well.
Yeah.
So.
And England have got to get on with it, but they don't want to be silly here because they don't want to find themselves up against it. This is full and it's driven by Pope, but again he can't pierce that offside ring. There's so little pace in this wicket that the batsmen haven't got a great deal to work with, but Pope just looks a little bit short of weight of shot here, which those of us who've seen him at the Oval know that he does have a decent weight of shot, but he's not
Not showing
got his
it, no.
timing, is he?
Or his placement in particular.
No, the leg side is largely unoccupied, but Southey is bowling well wide of the off stump, although he gets this one on the off stump, and again it's pretty full, and it just goes back to the bowler. I mean, again, I'm thinking he should be thinking about lifting that perhaps over the bowler's head. There's so little movement in the wicket that once you see it full like that, you can play through the ball, can't you?
Perhaps just wants 1 over to get his eye back in after
Yeah,
the
maybe.
break. Then we'll see some more when he's next on strike.
Although I've got a feeling that something's going to happen in 2 deliveries here. Are they going to be out or there's going to be a boundary? Southey goes wide on the crease. It's another half volley, and it's another that's hit back to Southey, who fields well off his own bowling and then does a bit of a Merv Hughes type at sort of feigning to throw the ball back at an advancing Pope, but
Who quickly retreated.
who quickly retreated. It's the west of Glasgow where attacks on Popes are more common. My third Pope of the day, because I saw the film The Two Popes this morning, and very good it was. Anthony Hopkins just about the right side of hamminess, and Jonathan Price brilliant as ever. Southey wide on the crease again, and Pope gets one on middle and leg, and he punches it into the leg side, and it's Jeet Ravel who comes round there, and he can only get 1. Pope keeps the strike. That's a pretty good result for New Zealand because they want Pope on strike because they're going to work him again. England lead by 8. Your tweets.
No, nothing very much. We've gone quiet again. They're talking amongst themselves. Talk to us.
Yes, more. We want to know what you're eating. We've had Ravi telling us about his quesadilla ambitions.
Quesadilla, Mexican cheese.
That's in the end he ended up cooking a chapati, I believe.
You two, of course, have been well fed.
We
in the
have.
green
We've
room.
had superb soup and
Jen's been
A
doing
freshly baked
sterling
roll
job.
as
freshly
well.
baked
yeah.
roll.
Little hint of rosemary in them. They were delish.
They were. So it's Mitchell Santner. And he has one slip for Ollie Pope, who's taking guard on about 5th stump. But he goes back and cuts a ball from off stump, and he gets a single round to Tom Latham, who throws the ball back into BJ Watling. I think he's getting obsessed with this cut, Pope.
Yeah.
You know, he's cutting a ball there that he should really be perhaps turning off his legs almost for a single just round the corner. But Root's back on strike, and that's what England want. Pope goes to 49, by the way, off 163 deliveries. Root's faced an astonishing 383, and he sort of half edges this. And it goes to Ross Taylor, who's at the fly slip for Root, and he comes round smartly, and there's no single. There's so little pace to work with in this pitch. I mean, it is a bit disappointing. Both pitches, I think, have been disappointing. Not really very New Zealandish. As Santner is in, and again, Root attempts to do a kind of scoop, a reverse sort of backhand scoop, which, had he connected with it, would simply just gone straight into the hands of Ross Taylor. So I don't know why he was doing that. It's not like there isn't a man there, but he didn't connect with it particularly well. It bounced and dribbled into the hands of Taylor. It should be hitting the ball straight, hit it back over the bowler's head. Santner's in, he tosses this up, and Root gets a half volley, which he just eases really into the offside, and the man sweeping on the cover boundary does his job. But England look like they want to get on with it, but just they don't seem to. Shot selection seems wrong to me. Surely they should be trying to hit it hard in the V instead of square of the wicket. Anyway, Pope's on strike, taking guard on about a 5th stump, and he gets one that's on 5th stump, and he sort of push drives it really without great conviction.
Brought that sweeping fielder
cover
in, didn't they?
Yeah.
You would have thought New Zealand might wanted a bit of a faster pitch, given the location and identity of their next opponents in 3 weeks' time.
Very full, and this is slashed to Jeet Ravel, who sprawls at cover, and Ollie Pope, in slightly less than distinguished style, really. It wasn't a great shot, but he goes to his first Test 50.
When you're 50, sometimes you think till you pass out on the floor. Now your liver's destroyed and you got hemorrhoids, and you can barely get it up anymore.
It's not like that at all when you're 50, and anybody who says so is making it up. Honestly. England's lead now 11. We're going along at 1 and over, I think. Are we since lunch?
Metronomically,
Yeah. Pope's had a lot of the strike though.
Mog, picking up on a subject you were talking about at lunchtime, Jonathan Price does really look a lot like Il Papa.
Yeah, he does. Southey is in, and this is on the legs, and Ollie Pope does turn that for an easy single as BJ Watling scoots round, and Kane Williamson comes into the stump, schoolboy fashion.
I think the last time I saw Jonathan, wasn't he in Game of Thrones? He was the horrible.
Yes, it was
religious type.
The High Sparrow.
High Sparrow.
It wasn't a part he could do a great deal with. I thought that was a particularly weak season of Game of Thrones until the last one came along, of course.
Which was a big.
Yeah, but he's he does straddle stage and screen, and he does film and television work. He's extremely flexible, and of course he was brilliant as Saudi comes in, and this ball keeps a little low, but Joe Root defends it and then raises his bat in an Australian way to say no run. He was brilliant in, and I think he was the best ever in Whose Line Is It Anyway? He was astonishingly good as an improviser. Oh, it was brilliant. Could do anything.
Good man. Not left, not right, but forward. So there's another question. Who are you guys rooting for, brackets no pun intended, in the 2020 election? Brackets, please don't say Trump.
Oh dear. Saudi's in, and this ball is flicked from outside off stump with a lot of wrist work from Joe Root, who's showing a greater range of shot than Ollie Pope, and therefore is getting those Smithian singles.
Well, we've got another dystopian election to get through first.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do have. You guys want to throw your names in the hat, the names in the ring?
What, on the 2020 election?
2020, yeah.
Well, we don't know who the Democrats
know.
are yet, do we?
Yeah, but who would you want amongst those who are
Well,
hats in the ring?
what's the new young whippersnapper that the Democrats have got? I don't know.
Saudi's in, and this is outside off stump, defended, and there is no run.
I don't know. I will wait till the
Interesting enough,
candidates, declare.
Hillary was on Graham Norton on Friday night. I don't
Was
know-
she?
Yeah, with daughter Chelsea,
Oh, yes.
and did not rule out the idea of maybe taking part in the 2020s.
Yeah, she's not ruled that out, but surely.
I don't think you can do
No.
that.
No, I mean, I'd go for anybody who can beat the incumbent, really.
Yeah.
Literally,
So-
or you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like Elizabeth Warren, as Southey is in. This is very full, and Pope can get this into the offside, and they run a single out to Matt Henry, who I'm looking forward to seeing bowl later, and another single is taken. But the other, I think, interesting candidate is one I think you talked about is Pete Buttigieg.
That's the one.
Who is very much looking for that sort of moderate, traditional Democrat voter. But of course, he comes from a non-traditional background for an American. So that might be interesting. 3 singles off this over. I don't think we've seen a boundary, have we, since lunch? I don't think we've seen a 2 either. So Southey is in, it's on leg stump, and this ball is flicked into the leg side, and they're through for a single, but it appears to be, a piece of the action here.
Yeah,
Thank you, whoever has sent that in.
Yeah,
very
thank
kind.
you. It's the end of the over, 390 for 5 of 143 overs. There must be easy runs to be had off this tiring attack, but it's your tweets for now.
Jessica, hi all. The Australian game doesn't start for a few hours, so I'm tuning in from the office. This game seems much more interesting.
It is certainly better than work.
Yeah, they've been two pretty disappointing series.
Yeah.
If you're anything other than a kind of stats bore,
Which we are.
Yeah, well, I like a few
series or
stats,
tests?
but the 2 series that are going on, and Australia are marmalising Pakistan in the
Pakistan, yeah.
main. But hats off to Yazir Shah for coming up with a century. I'm glad I missed David Warner bashing 335. Though.
Well, the interesting thing about the Australian Pakistan match is they flashed the score up on the TV and had Stark down as 6 for 6.
Santner's in, and Root on a premeditated sweep there was down so early and gets it round the corner to I think that was Neil Wagner fielding there, and they get another single. So at the moment Root is getting singles almost at will, and then Pope is struggling a little, but we need some boundaries.
So we were forced to check on what the actual figures were, which were I think 6 for 66.
It was a diabolic score.
Yes.
Figures.
Yeah, 6 for 66. But a decent return to form for Mitchell Stark. His place has been under question. He goes back to Solly Pope. There's just the tiniest bit of slow turn, but it's so slow that even if you're only half watching the ball, you're going to be able to get a bat on it. And there is no run. Fair play to Santner, though. He's gone round the wicket. He's bowling an attacking line. He hasn't got much of an attacking field. It's a bit of an in-out field. But he is trying to spin the ball, and this is full, and Pope hits it to mid-off and scampers a single. And if you can't pierce the field, then that's what you've got to do. You've got to hit in run pretty quickly. And there was always one there. In a one-day match, that's an easy single, but in a test, it feels a little tight. So Pope has 53. Joe Root has 184. I think 184 is that what Desmond Haynes got in the 1980 series. I remember he announced his arrival really as a test opener with 184. At least I think it was 184. And Root's scampering through again, a single there. He
Quick
goes
singles going on. It's good.
185. The partnership goes to 131.
Not left, not right, but forward. Says Pete Buttigieg is Keaton Jennings. Andrew Yang is Ben Stokes.
Andrew Yang is Ben Stokes. He's an interesting guy, Andrew Yang. I'd like to see him
ginger
in government, but maybe not as president. This is very full, and Pope slashes. I mean, even when he was playing on the front foot there, it almost felt like a cut.
Yeah, very wristy, wasn't it?
Yeah, gets it through the into the covers, but not through the covers, and that is the 4th single off the 5th ball of the over. Pope goes to 54. England one blow away from 400, but that would be a very large blow, as it's full, and Root helps himself to a single. That was almost like the boring middle overs of an ODI, wasn't it?
Yes.
We're going to give you singles, you're going to take the singles, and then we'll all advance the scoreboard on one. Am I being too harsh, do you think?
No, I don't
No.
think so at all. I think
It's a continuation of the morning session, I think,
Yeah.
so far, isn't it? Really? It's just
got to learn to force the issue at some point.
God forbid we get a 6.
Well, so much about cricket, isn't it, is about, as you say, forcing the issue, making something happen. And I've always liked cricketers who make things happen. And England have 2 or 3 players who make things happen. But one's already out in Ben Stokes, and the other one is probably not going to come in next, although I would like to see him come in next. Wokes is a classy batsman, and I'm sure he'll come in. But this feels more like a Curran sort of situation where he comes in, he slaps a couple of 4s. He's left-handed, isn't he? So that makes a difference as well. I'd like to see Curran in next, but this is full from Saudi, and Root even on 185. He can't time that. I mean, that ball was there for the drive, and instead it was sort of check-driven or punched to the man at mid-on, who is Neil Wagner, who's probably waiting for the next new ball. New ball at 160?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about
Yeah,
15 overs away.
15
So-
overs away, so that'll be in this session and towards the end of it. I haven't seen Daryl Mitchell bowl. He's the new all-rounder, isn't he?
He had a few in the first session.
Southey goes wide on the crease, and Root again can't beat Latham, who's at mid-wicket.
All quite frankly a bit trundly. So
Very
Yeah.
workmanlike.
Yeah, there's a kind of long history of New Zealand bowlers who get underestimated because you think they're trundlers, but they all do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There was something of that in Colin de Grandon, wasn't he? He was
Or
underestimated.
Go and look at the 1992 World Cup.
Yes, yes, of course. Mr. Dibley and Mr. Dobley were taking a lot of wickets there. So Root has no slip. He has nobody within 20 metres of him, but he cuts, and he almost gets it past the man at backward point, and Ross Taylor runs round from fly slip, and England get a 2. England get a
Blimey.
2. Mark the time. England get a 2.
calm down, Gary. Watch your heart.
It was.
That's
I think-
Mitchell misfielding, though. So
Yeah, he was hit quite hard, so he might say he saved 4 rather than conceded 2. But
I'll stick with conceded too.
I think conceded 2.
Andrew Rollison, 50 runs. Hooray! It's the Pope's first miracle. Next, he will make a deaf man blind.
This is very full. Surely that's there for the drive for Root, but he ended up just blocking it past or back towards the bowler. And Southey's doing a decent job here for his captain. His captain said just hold an end, and I think that they're not quite waiting for the new ball, New Zealand, but they certainly don't have the air of a team who are expecting something to happen here.
No.
A point rather picked up by Arthur Patricia. Funny game, cricket. England have been shitting the bed trying to score quickly in Test for years. Now they finally start valuing their wickets, and we're frustrated about it.
Yeah, this ball is the kind of late cut there, almost shades of Ian Bell. But there's a man there at sort of backward point come fly slip. He fields it, and England remain 397 for 5. I take that point, but it's also the match and the series situation is that England really want to be scoring 100 runs in this session, and that's almost gone already.
It's also not the kind of pitch where you can just throw your hands through the ball and
No.
you've got to be watchful to a certain extent on this.
Weight of shot is handy here, though, and England need a bit of weight of shot as Root gets one on his legs, and he just tucks it off the pads, and there's a man sweeping on the mid-wicket boundary, Jeet Ravel, I think. He returns it to BJ Watling. It's the end of the 145th over. England have 398 for 5. The lead is 23.
Pirate Badchar, I don't really follow American politics, but surely that's insulting to Ben Stokes.
Am I missing something?
The Andrew Yang reference.
Oh, I see, Andrew Yang. Is he gonna give everybody $10,000 or something? Is he the one who's gonna?
You can give me $10,000 if you want to. For what? Just voting for him?
Not sure.
Is that allowed? Probably is in the States.
I haven't thought about it and read about it. I quite like the idea of universal income. I don't see any way in a kind of post-industrial society with robots doing so much of the work and the kind of forces that channel resources or wealth into fewer and fewer hands that there's any way round a kind of universal income, either directly or indirectly. But perhaps that's for another day, because we've got a change of bowling here. The man who looks a bit like it was Andrew Tye, the bearded Australian.
Yeah.
I don't think he's quite as tall as Andrew Tye, but he certainly has a bit of that look. And it's this man.
Son of an old black funny and peep show wrote that book. Oh, Daryl, not David Mitchell.
Yes, the man who's not married to Victoria Corrin is in, and a horrible shot by Joe Root, who sort of planted a front foot and got an inside edge that just went past the leg stump. And Neil
Brilliant
Wagner,
fielding.
who has the mien of a kind of cocker spaniel, doesn't he? He's always enthusiastic, always wanting to be in the game, and he runs around to long leg and fields the ball. But that was a horrible shot, really, from Root. It was a shot of a man who's tired. He doesn't look tired, but that was a tired shot. It actually went past the leg stump, and you really are lucky
Really
when you
reach for that, didn't he? Good.
when you reach outside your off stump without enough balance. You get an inside edge. If it passes the off stump, you think, well, fair enough, those happen. But to pass the leg stump. Mitchell's in again, and this is on middle, and it's just punched by Root to mid wicket. I see what you mean about the dibbly dobbler, though, Mitchell, because he's very much sort of running in. Looks a bit kind of. I think it might even have hit the stump. Did it hit the base of the stump?
It did stump it. Wow.
Yeah. That was the previous delivery.
Bales didn't even flinch.
But he has a bit of a look of a kind of Mark Elam or Mark Butcher almost.
Boy from Kent.
Bowling. Very much looks more of a 6th or 7th bowler than a 5th bowler. Cue a hat-trick now. This ball does curve in a little bit to Joe Root. It's very full, and I don't know how many half volleys we've seen blocked to fielders just in this session, but it must be a dozen.
It was like this morning.
Like this morning,
Yeah, it's been like this all day.
It was at one point. It was the three people playing the game: the bowler, Ollie Pope, and Henry Nichols at cover, and then just for balls on end. 400 up, hooray!
Oh yes, 400 is up. 400 for 5. The lead is 25, and the camera suddenly shot out to Jeet Ravel for some reason. But we're back now with Daryl Mitchell, and yet again it's a half volley. Yet again it's block driven to Saudi. I think they've got to be looking to get underneath those and lift them.
They said they're quite deep, the straight on fielders, aren't they? So I probably don't
mean,
feel that that's a good shot.
Can England? The only way England could lose here, surely, is if New Zealand bat and England bowl them out for kind of 200 and then collapse. England have always got to be authors of their own misfortune here. So
Durbanoki makes that very point after this ball.
So Mitchell's in again. It's just very full, and it's on middle stump. So Root does use his wrists, but
it's a 2. It's a 2.
They do get 2 to deep mid wicket, but it wasn't the kind of wrists where you'd have someone like VVS Latchman or even Virat Kohli who would A, have hit it harder, and B, hit the gap, I think, there. But there aren't that many gaps, to be fair, to hit. But it's through for 2. Root has 193 off 403 deliveries. That 254, I wonder if he faced more deliveries in that 254, because I don't think he did, 403 is a lot of balls.
Yeah, I can't remember what the numbers Knackle gave me earlier.
And for once, England beat the field. That's a decent shot by Joe Root, because he threaded a needle between point and Ross Taylor at sort of short third man come fly slip. And he gets one of these. Sorry if we've woken anybody up there. we'll try and
that's loud, that one.
We'll try and moderate the jingle volume if we can. We're about to change. Is it the end of this over or the next over? Okay. So I'll be back with you later on. At least I got 1-4 in my commentary stint. It was the very last ball. So I'll just talk while we're changing seats here. Joe Root now in the top 10 for England with 7,253 Test match runs. Ahead of him are Colin Cowdrey and Ian Bell, Michael Atherton. Joe Root moving up the charts there. Only 88 matches compared to Cowdrey's 114. Yeah. I mean, he is a prolific and quick scorer for England, even if he's been in something of a trough in 2019.
Yeah, he's faced 404 deliveries. His longest testings was that 254, which was 406 deliveries against Pakistan at Old Trafford. He's closing in on what would be his third Test double 100. A welcome return to form and runs for the England captain. As a change of bowler comes in and is whipped to mid-wicket for no run. As Steve is just letting Jenny know where we are up to with the tweets, but we do have a change of bowling, and it's this man.
You can never trust a man with two first names, Matt Henry.
Matt Henry, the man with two names, is in again, and this is flicked off his legs by Pope to just behind square, and the score moves on with another run. Pope on to 55, Root 3 off the next milestone of a double century, and the England score 407 for 5. I'm Steve Jones. I'll take you through ball by ball for the next half an hour. I've got Knackle to my right on jingles.
Hello.
I've got Jen to my left on tweets.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Henry in again, and again this is flicked away square on the leg side, this time by Root. They just jog through for single. Root moves on to 198. The partnership must be getting up to...
the partnership is 145 between Ollie Pope and Joe Root.
So the second century partnership in the innings for England.
And we have Woy Woy Pom, who says, morning, I guess England need 200 lead in order to try to win without batting again. No chance. We're doomed.
Well, that's a little bit...
It does smell a bit doomy out here, yeah.
Well, the sun's beginning to shine, so clearly the weather seems to be improving at Seddon Park in Hamilton. Good news. I don't think we're going to have any restrictions from that side. We've had 2 days shortened in the Test match so far out of the 3.
Yeah, haven't missed anything. Pope just punched Henry to mid-wicket for no run.
This time, a little flash out into the offside, and they dash through for a quick single.
That's much better.
And it's very successful.
Yeah, that's much better. They've got to start taking these singles, try and score at 3.5 and over, rather than sort of 2.5 and over, and try and build this lead a little bit. It's 34 already. I think England will probably be looking, sort of setting a target of at least triple figures by tea, if not more.
Math for President is saying energetic, exciting, a leader. It's probably more insulting to Keaton Jennings.
We're comparing Democratic presidential candidates with England players of the recent past.
From a previous tweet, yes. Poor old Keaton. He always gets it a little bit in the neck, doesn't he? So Henry in again, and this time Root just flicks it into the leg side, and fine piece of fielding there. Restrict the England batsman to a dot ball. That's the end of the over. 3 from it. England move to 409 for 5, a lead at the moment of 34. The partnership up to 147 off 316 balls, so it hasn't been galloping along by any stretch of the imagination. Run rate of 2.78.
No, it's been 3.1 in the last 10 overs though, so England are starting
to creeping up with those quick singles.
Just nudge some singles around and pick things up.
And Woy Woy Pom is telling us that he's still in Beijing, and it's still bloody cold.
Sure.
It's bloody cold here as well, but maybe not as cold as out in Beijing. So, but a bit warmer than what you're used to, Jen, I believe.
I think it's been lovely. Anything above 30 below is lovely weather. Yes.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, no ice, no black ice. Beautiful.
So it is Mitchell to continue. 20 overs, 0 for 58 from his efforts so far. He's in outside off stump, and Pope smashes this to the deep cover boundary where the sweeping fielder cuts it off and returns it back in. Another single is added to the score. Brings Root onto bat on 198, looking for a very senior serious a landmark of a double century.
Arthur Patricia is saying that UBI is definitely better than UTI. I should hope so. I don't know which UBI he means.
And Mitchell is in, and Root just plays a fairly
Oh,
standard
universal
def-
basic income.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This is now Joe Root's longest ever test innings.
Oh.
By balls or time?
By balls.
By balls, right. 407 he has faced so far. So his 250 odd was in
406.
406.
Math for mate Pirate Badsa is picking up where Math for President left off, and says your average energetic batter is as likely to be out for a duck as anything else.
In the meantime, Mitchell has delivered. He is third ball of his over. Pope Root has just flicked this into the leg side again and has moved on to 199. Pope to face 57. Showing the run out of Rory Burns on 101. Lovely bit of fielding by Paval, I have to say. But Mitchell in again, and Pope is fooled by the slow ball, and ball down the leg side, he completely misses it, and it dribbles through to Watling.
Yeah, we're seeing the run out. Jeet Raval picked it up very nicely at mid wicket, flung the ball in, and Watling whipped off the bails, and Burns was just a little bit short. There was definitely two there, but they slightly hesitated both on the first run and the second, and allowed Raval and Watling to combine to dismiss Rory Burns.
Wasn't a long way out, was he?
No, they had to go through 3 or 4 different replays to work out whether he was out.
To the naked eye, I just said he was in, but anyway, he obviously wasn't. So Mitchell in, and Pope just flicks us into the offside. Think about a run, but Latham has come sprinting, and they're just showing the slow motion on that. Yeah, the stumps are broken, and he's 2-3 inches short. Oh well, definitely out.
Pirate Badsa is also professing to be not amenable to proselytizing. Well, isn't that special? Mark Zip says that Ben Stokes probably has a more sensible take on Section 230. That's a bit deep for me.
Yeah.
Of the CDA than Yang does.
Mitchell in, and Pope strikes this fairly firmly into the deep offside fielder. The sweeping cover fielder comes round, and batsmen have gone through for 2 runs. So at the end of the 148th over, England move on to 413 for 5.
Dave Warner faced 418 balls for his 335, but he was facing bad Pakistan bowling. That's harsh, Chewy Andrew. That's harsh. Was it really that much of a buffet?
I think he just wore them down. And they didn't bowl terribly. They didn't bowl particularly well at him early in his innings, but they just sort of wore them down. He's, we people on the show slag off David Warner a lot, but he's certainly ruthless when he's on top.
What were they, 600 odd for 3?
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's a bit tiring bowling at that sort of stuff, isn't it? So, Matt Henry to continue.
And Mog is telling us that it's a cold Australian summer.
Oh. Henry in past the umpire. Right arm over. Outside off stump. Root just dabs us down. Looks for the quick single. But 3 New Zealand fielders converge on the wall. No more than about 10 yards on the stumps. And there's no chance of a single.
Poor old Keaton. Poor old Keaton. They're threatening to recall him to play cricket for England. For Pete Buttigieg, comparison is apt in that they can both fuck all the way off. Yes, Pete Buttigieg can. Well, I can't say that he'll eat a dick because he's happily married to someone with a dick.
Oh. Mitchell's bowled. Root has struck that firmly into the offside, but there's no chance of a run. Well fielded. Again, England starting to look a little bit more energetic.
That was an
in
excellent
the-
bit of fielding
yeah.
by Neil Wagner, who, as Gary was saying, seems to have boundless reserves of energy. I read a little bit about Neil Wagner's warm-up routine or exercise routine, and it was quite impressive.
Henry in and on the leg stump, and Root just flicks us into the leg side with his no chance of a run. He's remaining on 199. Score still on 413 for fun.
So one of Wagner's favourite drills is to run 100 metres, sprint 100 metres, then 200 metres, then 400 metres, have a break, and then repeat.
Well, I'm very pleased he likes it.
Yes.
Everybody likes a trier.
No shortage of stamina for Neil Wagner.
God, yeah. Henry in again, just outside off stump, a little drop, and there's a bit of a hesitation between the fielders. Fortunately, the fielder has missed the stump, so Pope is flat on his stomach and has managed to make his ground, and that is the 200 and the third of his career for Joe Root. Well played, Mr. Root.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100.
Congratulations, sir. You are a centurion.
Play it twice, you see, because
I noticed.
Can we at some point have a jingle for milestones over a ton?
yeah, we'll try and source some of those because we've actually seen quite a few in
Yeah,
in-
these
on this
days.
tour.
We've just watched the
Ooh.
replay and had, I think it was Williamson. Had Williamson actually hit the stumps, then sadly Pope would have been out by about a yard. I
Yeah,
would have thought.
he dived and then his dive stopped, and then he had to crawl the last couple of inches over the line.
Mitchell in again to Pope, who has survived that near run out. Just jabs us into the offside, and there's no run.
Believe that's Joe Root's first double as England captain.
And I suppose the important point of that is that's probably going to stop some of those immediate conversations about who should be England captain.
Well, yes, these
and
things-
how much it's affecting his batting.
well,
and
indeed.
all that sort of
I don't
stuff.
think
So-
I don't think there's any question that it was affecting his batting.
And for the final ball of the over, Henry in, and Pope just moves forward, jabs down on it, and the bowler just runs through to pick up the ball, and there is no run. At the end of the over, England 414 for 5, Pope 59 not out, Root magisterial 200 not out. And the good news is I think England are trying to up the tempo here, so that rather suggests they're trying to get to some point either in this session or at some point in the next session, but certainly
I think they want at least an hour at New Zealand tonight, if not more.
The bad news is that it's cold in San Francisco. But it's good news that we are warming the cockles of Math for Presidents. And, the cockles of his near-frozen heart.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought cockles were...
Well, somewhere else, but, yeah.
Yeah.
cockles and muscles alive.
Lawrence Jameson is saying that Root is eyeing 394 not out. That would give him an average of 50. And Pope is displaying the patience of a saint.
Boom.
Yeah. 40 degrees tomorrow in Perth.
Helps with the Pope at the other
Yeah.
end, isn't it? So, anyway, Mitchell to continue into his 22nd over, 0 for 62 so far. Bowls to Root. This is his on leg stump. Flicks this quite majestically,
Ooh.
and I think the fielders, yes, they are going to cut it off. Clipped it square, and the batsmen have crossed for a couple of runs. We're just watching some highlights of Root's last 50.
Meanwhile, our very own Kendo is saying that I think I mentioned something about Joe Root having a big one in him this innings during my intro yesterday. Yes.
Well done,
yes,
Hendo.
Yes.
The all-seeing
I'm a clever
Hendo.
dick
Yes.
is the hashtag. Okay. A little too much information.
He said is, not has.
Mitchell continues to Joe Root, clips this into the leg side, straight to the man at mid-wicket. And
I
there's
thought
no
everyone
run.
pointlessly tedious has already left.
Sorry, I'm still here.
I must have blinked. Our listenerships it's they're debating the relative merits of not necessarily viable presidential candidates.
Right, good. They've just shown Joe Root's wagon wheel of his 200, and interestingly, 19 of his runs came from straight shots.
Oh,
Yeah, certainly yesterday, 80% of his runs came between backward point and mid-wicket.
This time, Root steps out quite boldly down the track, and again from a ball from about a foot outside off stump, flicks this into the leg side, but straight to the mid-wicket fielder, and there's no run.
Dorian Gray is listening in Miami and is taken aback by the mention of political dicks.
Hmm.
Oh well.
Dorian Gray and
Yeah.
his picture.
Yeah,
It's at True Dorian Gray.
The real.
the real Dorian Gray.
Yeah. The real McCoy, the genuine article, apparently.
Really 120, it looks 20. Mitchell in again, outside off stump. Root cuts this behind square, but fine piece of fielding by the New Zealand. I don't know who it was, but it was beautifully stopped. Stopped certainly a 4 there.
Henry
And,
Nichols, I think,
I
at backward point.
think it probably was. But the Kiwis keeping their standard of fielding up here, actually, aren't they? They're not giving England any easy runs at all. I'm just seeing a replay of this again.
Daniel Shepard is saying that he's seeing Root had moved into top 10 England test run scorers. I googled the top 50 for current England players, including 3 in the current match among them. Root, another easy to guess, but can you guess the third? Who's
Of the current
was it?
players.
Top 50 England run scorers.
Yeah,
Was it
Oh,
3?
in the current team.
yeah.
Stokes.
Stokes, probably, yeah.
Butler? No, might not be in the top 50. Broad will be in the top 50.
Okay.
Doubt it.
I would imagine Stuart Broad has been around for a long time and used to be able to bat.
God, yeah, your memory goes back a long time, doesn't it? It's quite good. That.
Oh yes, indeed.
Anyway, Mitchell in again to Pope, who slashes outside, a fine cut, and that finds its way all the way to the boundary to bring up a 4.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1 my name is Lakhan my name is Lakhan
I like that jingle, but it's really, really loud.
It is loud. In this current 11, Root, Stokes, Broad. I can't think who the 4th would be in this current 11.
Well, Stokes has
There's
been
only
around a long
3.
time.
Oh yeah, Root, Stokes. In this current 11, it must be Root, Stokes, and Broad.
Broad, yeah.
How many does Root need to score to have outscored his entire 2019 test output up to now?
Oh, not
And
a couple
that's
of hundred.
directed specifically to you from Arthur Patricia.
Okay then, I may just have
Specifically to you.
I may just have a look at that rather facetious question.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
It's
Oh.
mine.
Yeah. Root
least
to
another couple hundred, I
declare
would
when
think.
he gets to 337. Not out, just to stick it to Warner. Says Ian Shaw. Chewy Andrew is saying you can use the 180 in darts as a jingle from when a player gets to 180. Anything darts related tends to be very, very annoying. Especially the
Understatement.
audible parts of darts.
Anyway, Matt Henry to continue, and Root is facing. He tries to nudge this into the leg side, and it just comes off the front edge of the bat and goes straight back to the bowler who fields it. So Root is rather bemused and looking at his bat and trying to work out exactly what happened there. But it was a slow ball, and we're seeing Pope's last 4 off the last ball of Mitchell's over, which was a fine cut just behind square. Henry is in again, and Root has clipped this firmly up to mid-on, straight to the fielder, and it's another dot ball.
You saw though Pope set off for the single there. There definitely has been a
instruction.
change up to at least 3rd gear. Yeah, Joe Root had scored 548 runs in Test cricket this year before the start of today, so he'd have a way to go.
And I think the end of the match will come before he gets to that stage. Yeah.
Possibly the end of the world.
Yeah.
Shot!
Stretched down and hits straight back over the bowler's head for a 4-1 of these.
That's a lovely shot. Root's first 6 off his 420th ball. And yes, that is the first 6 of England's innings.
Doesn't surprise me.
Only
There haven't been that many fourths.
Only the
have
4th of the test.
there? And Hendry in again, and it's outside off stump, and Root ends up playing a sort of a one-handed shot on that one ball. Just dribbles out into the offside for a dot ball. The England lead has now galloped past 50. It's up to 52. Score 427 for 5 in the 151st over. Yes, Henry turns and comes back in again, and this is cut behind square, and the man at gully diving to his left can't stop it, and it runs down to third man. And Root has added another single.
Daniel
to score.
Shepard is being spicy. He says, yes, Broad, but it's a disgrace to be in the top 50 with an average of 18.
One might say impressive, just because it shows incredible longevity on the part of Stuart Broad.
In the shitness of everyone else.
And how good he must have been before.
Well,
Henry in again to complete this over.
It's
And,
not exactly a very competitive field.
Pope has jabbed it at square on the offside, and they gallop through for another single. Pope's score moves on to 64. Root 210. England 429 for 5. The lead of 54.
Sorry, Stuart Broad's played well over 100 Test matches. England play a lot more Test cricket now than they used to. And yeah, Broad used to be a very decent batsman indeed. He was averaging the sort of in the mid-20s with the bat.
I think I saw the beginning of his career.
Yeah, for the first, I would say, probably 6 years of his career, he was very handy indeed with the bat. It's
Quite swashbuckling,
yeah,
wasn't he?
indeed.
Yes.
Swashbuckling does not equal good, and you've just rattled off a whole bunch of technicalities.
Well, swashbuckling in the sort of the Sam Curran mode of the modern day.
He was he would score very quickly, and he'd score quite a few 50s.
He would also get out for single digits for some very, very expansive ducks.
All batsmen do that.
Yeah.
Not the good ones.
He was never going to play as a bat.
I know you're very keen to defend him.
I know in the last few years his batting's deteriorated significantly, but yeah, Stuart Broad had a very long Test career, and all credit to him.
Yeah, no, one of my friends could not believe he was still bowling.
Santner is coming back into the attack, replacing Mitchell. Give a little bit of variety to the bowling.
You better not drive, you better not sweep, I'm telling you why. Santa's balls are drifting around. Santa's balls are drifting around.
That's also Mog?
That is Richard Peel, who is our third jingler.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Santner in, left arm over the wicket, and Pope just jabs us out into the offside. Where Paval fields, and there's no run.
You are whispering.
Am I sorry?
Yes. Very, very slowly and quietly.
Well, the game's going slowly. It's
I don't get through the tweets.
Santner in down the leg side, and Pope just jabs us into the leg side, and they jog through for another single. The score moves on to 430 for 5. England's lead up to 55. Any more tweets?
Not anymore.
No.
Everyone's asleep.
Oh, they're gone to sleep.
Yeah.
Anything on excuse me? Anything on Facebook and or YouTube?
Facebook, no. YouTube, let me check.
It's Santner into Root, and he just jabs a straight arm, and they come through for quite a quick signal, and the score moves on to 431 for 5. Santner 30.3 overs, 0 for 76, and given that he was the man who took the first 3 wickets in the England second innings in that first test, his return has been a little bit.
By this time in the first test, the ball was turning prodigiously from the footmarks. There aren't any footmarks at all, seemingly.
Santner fires us down the left the leg side. Pope misses it, and Watling ends up juggling the ball and nearly dropping it onto the stumps. But Pope has made his ground anyway. So
I wonder if that was a deliberate ploy to try and get him stumped down the leg side.
Might have been, because it was fired in. It was certainly a little bit of a quicker ball. Santner in again around the wicket, outside off stump, and Pope rocks back and cuts this very square where Paval fields. And it's, no
Apparently,
run.
Roots a year hasn't been quite as moribund as I thought, says Arthur Patricia. Reasonable chance he gets 275 and increases this year's aggregate by more than 50%.
Santner in on off stump, and Pope again just jabs it out square on the offside, straight to the same man, Paval, and that's the end of the over. 2 runs off. Santner's over. The England score has moved up to 431, 4-5.
Are you calling him Paval?
Paval.
Ravel.
Ravel.
Just to be
I
pedantic.
can't-
To be pedantic.
Can't see the bottom stroke on the back of his shirt.
Ravi is, as is his wont, is defending Root, saying, "Let Root bat until mid-morning tomorrow. Stop criticizing him. He is batting as a spope at a perfect pace."
I think Root played a very well. There are no bad double hundreds in Test cricket, but I think he's batted very well under a good deal of pressure, and
He's done a wonderful job.
he's done. And I think Root and Pope are definitely starting to up the scoring rate as they should be.
We've got a new bowler
New
coming
Zealand
on.
are trying to replace sort of gentle, easy listening with heavy metal.
That's Neil Wagner. He's my boss. And when he takes 5 wickets in an over, it was Moida.
Quick review of the New Zealand bowling figures. The economy levels are all quite sensible, all 2.3, 2.6. Wagner's up at 3.2, one of the more expensive. Or the most expensive, actually, of the New Zealand
Daryl
bowlers.
Mitchell over 3 and over as well has just been milked, really. Been quite gentle and friendly.
A lot of arm waving here. So the field here, no slips. There's a sort of a gully, a fairly deep gully at the moment. A third man who's fairly square.
It's an interesting field.
There is a third man actually. He's hidden.
There's 2 men back on the boundary between deep point and third man. There's a cover partway back to boundary. Then there's sort of a straight line of men at point, cover, and deep set mid off, and the leg side field is spread too.
So Wagner in over the wicket and fairly wide outside off stump, and Root sort of fetches that one. Hits it fairly firmly to the man at mid wicket.
And the men on the leg side are all back as well, so they're just trying to give Root the single, I think.
Kunal Talani is seconding Ravi and saying this test isn't going to end in anything other than a draw. So why not let Root bat for 101?
Wagner's in again. This is again outside off stump, and again Root sort of flailing away at the ball, completely misses it, and it dribbles through to Watling behind. There's no run, no wide, no nothing given there.
Or even 548.
548.
He comes back to say.
I would like to think that England are thinking about trying to do something to force the game to get a result.
And I think
than
New Zealand are trying to slow them down with this field and bowling way wide of Root's off stump.
Wagner again, and this time he steps outside off stump. It's a horrible top edge. It drops in front of Kane Williams. He can't make it in from the boundary at mid off, and Roots gallop through for a single. Everyone's smiling and laughing and thinking it's mildly amusing, but
how close did this go to Kane Williamson? He's sort of halfway back to the boundary. He's run to his right. Oh, it's fallen way short of him because it went
directly
over the stumps.
Yeah. So
Daniel Shepherd. Let him go.
Wagner in again wide outside, a slow ball, and Pope sort of gets the bat on it, just drives it straight to the ground, and it ends up going through
I think
to
they're
Watling.
starting to play some pretty stupid shots.
Well, there's not really much you can do with that. They're trying to score off every ball.
I know you don't like to see that though, do you?
I'm all for a bit of innovation.
I think Tony's coming back.
The Bishop has shown us a bit of leg.
Yes. Again, Wagner outside, smeared behind square, but Taylor jogs around from the third man position and safely gathers it. They only make a single there. I think we are going to have a change at the end of this Wagner over.
A 3-person change. Tony Bishop will be taking over ball by ball. Gary Naylor will be coming into jingles, and Tim Part will be reading your tweets.
As the England lead extends to 58 still with 5 men in the hutch. Wagner Comes in again, outside off stump and off underside of Root's bat. And Watling has gone so far to his right that he ends up the ball going to his left, and he can't get back and stop it. Gets a part of a hand to it. The England batsmen have managed to gallop through for 2. Root moves on to 214, and with that, we'll change over.
Yeah, and with silly buggers happening out on the wicket, we'll have a little word from Rihanna. That wasn't a segue that made any sense, but have a look, have a go anyway.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Pay me what you want it.
Rihanna certainly does know. Thank you indeed to her. Did we ever find out the donor of the pizza?
We did not.
But it was quite magnificent.
It was.
Now I've got a question. To my left, Tim Part.
Hello, hello.
To my right, the garrulous but magnificent garrulous Naylor.
Indeed it is.
So, chaps, no Englishman. Only 3 Englishmen have more Test double 100 than Joe Root. Who are they, and how many? And indeed, that question can go out to everyone who I'm sure will answer the question quicker.
I am certain.
Than my 2 brains.
I am
to the right
certain that 1 is Wally Hammond, and I'd say 7.
Brilliant. You're not reading that over my shoulder, eh?
No, I know. Is it 7?
It is 7.
Oh,
Gary.
I must have looked it up at some point. I do occasionally look up numbers of double hundreds because is an esoteric stat.
So well done for you then. Tim, what have you got?
I do pure stab in the dark. It's probably wrong. Gooch.
No. More recent.
Cook. Sure.
More recent. Right country.
Cook.
County. Yes. Very good. How many?
4.
Yeah. 4.
1 short.
5.
And the other, going back a little bit more than, not as far back as Wally Hammond, I don't think, but certainly further back than Cook.
Barrington?
No further back than that. We're looking at the run out, aren't we? Yes.
Yeah, let me think. Wally Hammond is usually the answer to most
Wally Hammond,
questions, to be honest.
Gloucestershire's finest.
Leonard Hutton.
Leonard Hutton.
There we go.
With 4. Very good indeed. I knew the combined weight of your 2 brains would just be too big for that question.
In the last test, I managed to conjure the number of test wickets that Jason Gillespie had at 259.
Oh, extraordinary. Very good. Extraordinary. Okay, so another interesting fact. No Englishman.
We'll be the judge of that.
No, all right. It's not one of mine. I should credit our friends at CricViz for these, by the way.
It will be interesting.
I don't just know this stuff just off the top of my own head.
Oh, yeah.
No Englishman in Test history. It's not a question; it's a fact.
Oh, okay.
No Englishman in Test history has as many runs and a higher average than Joe Root. So some have more runs, but lower averages. Some have lower averages, but more runs. But nobody has as many runs and a higher average than Joe Root, which is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, there's not many who even though he's had a pretty flat year until this innings, I think he was averaging 27 this year. Root's average has been, especially for an England player, has been historically high. When he was in that kind of 4 Musketeers with Kohli, Williamson and Smith, there was a time when they were all averaging about 53. Since then, Kohli's probably advanced his to 55 or 56. Williamson's probably about still 53. And Smith has zoomed off into the stratosphere on about 64. Whereas
Warner and Watling into that little group now.
Yeah.
Mitchell Santner is going to be taking up the attack post that hydration break, which he is bowling again from the members' end. Left arm around the wicket. And Ollie Pope had a little carve at that, unsuccessfully. And it was through to BJ behind the stumps there pretty quickly. Took it well.
Yeah.
Took it well. I've so much to admire about BJ Watling. I love his batting. He's economical in his movements, but efficient behind the stumps. Santner's in, dropped a little bit short, flicked off his legs by Pope. That's an easy single to backward square leg. Neil Wagner.
Should we honour the keeper who enjoys a sobriquet of tidy, as keepers must be
We can.
described?
We might want to
Should we
wait to the end of the over, Gary, because Santner whistles through his
7-second jingle.
7 second. Go for it, quick.
Do it.
But she never lost her head, even when she was B.J. Watlam.
It is very clever. In comes Santner. Down the track and meeting it on the full Joe Root, but Santner feels well down to his left. Few dark clouds gathering, I notice. We need to probably have a look at the weather, chaps, because
that's just the election.
well, no, but there's we're definitely not looking at high blue cloudless skies. We're looking at some gathering dark clouds. Root climbs into this outside of his off stump, but it's all the way along the ground to long off.
Is New Zealand the land of the long white cloud?
It is the land of the long white cloud.
I used to have a regular order in the 80s of I think it was Cloudy Bay, New Zealand wine.
Yeah, in comes Santner. Reverse swept by Root. However, the man at the man at backward point does the fielding. Confuses you when it's a reverse sweep, because you suddenly have to think to yourself, hang on, is he at point or is he at square leg? But he was at point to the right-hander, flicked off his legs by Root. Mid-wicket is in like a shot, and there's no run.
I used to go to Walton Street, just around the corner from the Michelin building, and used to buy 6. It was too expensive to buy 12. It used to turn up every January. It was Sauvignon Blanc, and it was excellent.
King's Road?
Just off, not quite more South Kensington than
South
King's
Kent,
Road.
yeah.
Well,
Kent,
Cloudy Bay has reached the supermarkets, I can confirm.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Now then, back in about 86, I would guess, it was rather more of an esoteric.
Indeed.
62 runs England lead by. Do you know what the Michelin Man's called? I'm sure you do, Gary, because you just know everything.
Man.
He is called Bibendum.
Oh, Bibendum. Well, that's the name of the building, of course.
Absolutely.
Bibendum.
Well, it's named after
him.
Yeah.
Bibendum, that sounds like it means drinking.
It does.
Well, it does, doesn't it?
It's Latin for it should be drunk.
Oh, excellent.
Brilliant. There you go. It's amazing what three brains can do. We get to one fact between the three of us.
And we're all feeling.
Neil Wagner's going to continue anyway. And
Was nailed Wagner in the ankle.
Nailed him.
Man down.
Rooty.
He's smiling there.
Everybody's smiling. I think Neil Wagner's made a steal, I think. Gary, was it you who was saying, although we love his heart-to-heart jingle, you could equally have the Ride of the Valkyries and it would suit him as well as most, wouldn't it?
There's Donner and Blitzen every time he's in the game.
Technically, that was a drop.
That's on the kneecap. That's extraordinary.
Technically, that was a drop, and it caught him right on the knee. How on earth is he smiling after that?
How's he walking, let alone bowling?
Wagner drops this one short. Maybe that's the answer. And Root has to reach for that, but it's a way to extra cover and no run.
I remember playing for my midweek side, a side called Litherland Methodists. None of them were Methodists.
Not easy to say if you've had a few.
Yeah.
And
I was umpiring, I think, at square leg.
Yep.
And a guy pulled the ball that went like a rocket, and I simply did not move.
There's a
and it
man,
hit me.
interestingly enough, there's a man just going back to long on, and therefore Root decides to crash it away into the offside down to deep cover. They will take a single. Sorry, Gary.
And the ball hit me on the knee.
Yes.
Without me having any chance to react. And when you're umpiring, you're not really thinking about fielding. So the ball had hit me almost before I noticed. And I waited for the pain to come, and literally nothing happened. It must have hit a kind of dead spot where there were no nerves. But literally no pain at all as the ball cannoned into my knee. And I can remember it clear as day now. I mean, I was probably 15, 16 at the time, and nothing, no pain whatsoever.
Extraordinary. Wagner in again, left arm over the wicket. This one is crashed straight back down the ground. Root. Pope's got the flavour now. That's 4 terrific runs. What a straight drive that was. Who was it who famously said it shouldn't hurt, the ball's only on you for a second? Was it Brian Close? Yeah, I thought it was Brian Close.
After the peppering, I think, by Wayne Daniel and Michael Holding at Old Trafford.
Ollie Pope. I mean, we just that one was. I mean, you can describe straight drives as classy, fluent, whatever you like. That was just smashed, and this one is equally smashed away to deep cover. Mitchell Santner, I think, was the man down there, and he throws in pretty accurately, just on the bounce.
Well, the charge
so
is
just
on.
a single.
Yeah.
The charge now is very much on.
That's a Kevin Peterson manual shot. That
It was indeed. The charge, as Gary said, was on.
And I think that has to be right. And if England want to win this match, they've got to. I mean, it looks like England are thinking about declaring even a tee here.
In comes Wagner, full flicked off his legs by Root. They will take one. They will look for two. They're going for two. They're going to have to really hurry. And it's a bit of a wild throw, I'm afraid. And now BJ Watling is in the wars because he's a waddling at the moment because he's been struck on the leg.
You know what that throw reminded me of? The World Cup final. That
Yes.
looked
Oh,
bit
it did.
like Jason Roy's throw
Oh, he
to
did.
Joss Butler.
just not as good.
And
Do
it
you know what,
shows
though?
how easy it was for England not
Yeah,
to have won that
absolutely,
World
yeah,
Cup.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Tony.
Well, that was all right. He actually did incredibly well. If he was a goalkeeper and in the front of a goal, you'd say that was a magnificent save because to even get to that, he did very well.
This seems like an appropriate moment to read out Arthur's. Hello, Arthur. Tweet. Imagine, if you will, quite how royally fucked off Zach Crawley is right now.
Well, quite often in very big scores, somebody misses out, and poor old Zach is going to be feeling the pain. Maybe his time will come, but it certainly wasn't in this game, was he? And he did kind of reach rather stiffly outside of his. Not a lot of footwork. He hadn't played himself in, had he? He will not be happy.
Rory Burns, who might be thinking about missing out because those 72 that Pope scored, I'm sure Rory Burns is thinking, I could have had those.
Well, I mean, that was a daft run, and he admitted it afterwards. He said that he was lazy in the first run. He knew everything he did wrong, basically.
Yeah.
4:45 for 5. If Hendo's listening, 4:45 for 5, and forward comes Pope, and Mitchell Santner dives across to his left to tidy up off his own bowling. So 4 to 45, 40,
Not
40,
only
45,
that,
40, 45,
we've
4:45 for 5.
We've had 155 overs, and in England it's 1:55 a.m.
Indeed, absolutely, very good. In comes Santner around the wicket, waited for, and just steered nicely away to backward point by the Pontiff, who will move on to 73. Joe Root is on a magnificent 218. Okay, it's possibly been a tad stodgier than some of his bigger scores, but under the pressure the lad's been under, well done him. Santner in reverse swept completely unsuccessfully. There I was bigging him up, and he completely made a Horlicks of that, and it's through to our friend BJ behind the stumps.
He does look very tired mentally.
It is looking a bit tired.
It just makes you think that Warner had another 117 to score at this point.
Yeah, you wonder about some of the bowling there, don't you?
Yes,
as Santner is in around umpire Wilson. Down the track comes Root to meet him, but he has to rather check that. He's able to push it away to mid-wicket, though. They'll take 2, and it's a very lively 2. So, finally, I remember watching some of last night's. I can't remember. I think it was Hendo on commentary, and everyone, basically all 3 of our colleagues were just agreeing how dull it was. I think England have now decided, right, we're in the box seat here, time to push it home. And, do they want to win? I think they do. They've now got themselves into a position where they can.
I would be more confident of England's chances of winning had Jack Leach been playing.
In comes Santner, Parkinson possibly, pulled away by Root to mid-wicket. Darryl Mitchell is the man there. He also made a ton, didn't he? And his mum was there, so applauding him. So say we christened her Peggy, which is we don't know if that's her name. We never actually looked it up.
I mean,
seemed the right name for her somehow.
Yeah.
Santner hasn't taken a wicket, but you do think
in comes Santner, flicked away onto the leg side. Darryl Mitchell made 73. Says Cricknack. Hello. Says Cricknack, our resident statistician. And that was the end of the over. So they are going nicely, are England. New Zealand now are somewhat reeling on the ropes. 450 for 5 England. So when do you think, Gary, if you've got a lead, or England have that lead of 75 runs, we have how long till tea?
It's probably another 45 minutes or so because they had the
Yeah.
drinks break when we started.
So do you want to get that lead to 100 another 100?
I don't think it's about the lead, really. I think it's about the time.
Yeah,
and
but you want an element of security.
Well, I mean, the worst England can get surely is if they declare even at tea, the worst they can get is a draw. I mean, New Zealand are not going to get so far ahead that they're going to bowl England out.
Well, now,
surely.
interestingly, Neil Wagner does have his boots off. He's he's putting them back up again at the moment under the watchful eye of Kumar
magic
Dharmasena.
sponge.
And I do wonder if, to your point earlier, for you the pain never came.
Yeah, maybe it has.
They do say where there's
stiffened up.
no sense, there's no feeling.
Yeah.
But I think in this particular case, maybe it was just that little bit late. He seemed to smile all over his face. He thought it was really funny. He went off and completed his over, but maybe he suddenly went, "Ow! Actually, that did hurt." I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe Kane Williamson or someone said, "Look, just go down.
Yeah,
Take a couple of minutes out the game here. Might lose an over tonight."
We're playing for the draw.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand have surely only got the draw to play for. That would secure them the series. There's no reason why not. But I mean, surely England can't lose even from here.
In comes Wagner, left arm over the wicket, and Ollie Pope's turn this time to have a wild swing at that.
I mean, it would have to be a perfect
and miss it.
It would have to be a perfect storm where, because New Zealand won't declare in a second innings, it has to be a perfect storm where they would be bowled out with enough runs.
Well,
in the lead
to your
and
point,
enough time.
we are watching Jeet Raval, who's going through a number of loosening exercises and sort of batting manoeuvres. So maybe he is expecting to be in fairly soon. Perhaps he's read Joe Root's mind. This one is carved away to extra cover by Ollie Pope, and he will get a single for that. Joe Root, who is on 221, will be back on strike.
I mean, maybe the other way is if New Zealand are bowled out at tea tomorrow and the lead's about 90, and England have got to try and get 90 in an hour and 15 overs and lose 5 wickets, hitting the ball up in the air.
It's not going to happen, is it?
No, I think it's
even then
so
you
unlikely.
shut up shop, wouldn't you? I guess so.
Shut up the shutters and sit in the shop. And this one is pulled away. Whoa,
what a stop.
What a fantastic stop. Who was that? I think that might have been Santner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There
I
were
think
two
so.
men down
is.
there. It was Mitchell Santner. What a foul with Jeet Raval, who were both patrolling that leg side boundary. They converged. Santner it was who put his money where his mouth was, as it were, and flung himself on the run to his right. And, well, what a terrific stop. And when, well, at this stage of the play, when you're getting caned around the park a bit, well done him for 100% commitment. In comes Wagner. Wide, horrible. I don't think it was. Oh, it is given wide. It was given wide. I was about to say, I'm not sure it was actually wide enough to be given a wide, but it's close. But it was a wide. Wide. 454 for 5. 45. 454 for 5.
Ravi Nair suggests that England should have fun until 40 minutes before the close. He also adds, it's lovely
Wagner
to hear...
in.
Sorry.
And sliced away to deep extra cover.
Lovely
for
to
a single.
hear his platonic fiancé Gary Naylor
That's
on
true.
comms. Simon Gear will be jealous.
It's true.
Platonic fiancé.
Yes, Ravi and I decided that we're a perfect 100% match on Match.com or
Interesting.
Harmony, eHarmony or whatever it is.
Tinder?
Tinder, perhaps, yes. Tinder's a little more physical, I think.
Yeah, in comes Wagner. Short! Oh, and this one, he's got a top edge. I think this could be the end for Pope. It is.
What a shame.
Straight to Raval at deep mid-wicket, and he just gobbled that up. So the Pontiff has to head back to the Vatican.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at? Oh!
Well, he was trying to get quick runs, to be fair, so it's a little bit of a harsh jingle. But he'll be pleased with that 70-odd, won't he?
Yes, he absolutely will, and he's gone past 50 for the first time. So, you know, he's made his point. He was really sacrificing his wicket there in a way, in the hunt for quick runs, when a ton was within view. So I think you've got to applaud that.
You know, one of the things I really don't understand, there's so much I don't understand about cricket. Root and Pope have just been trying to hit the cover off the ball non-stop. And we've just seen there Ollie Pope walking off. Ollie Pope got to the boundary and you could just see in the distance England's next batsman just about sort of gathering himself and walking towards. He certainly didn't cross on the field. And I mean, why can't the batsman be ready? Because they know they're trying to hit everything. The wicket was coming. Just be ready and sprint onto the field and say, right, you get bowling to me. You might get another over that could easily be 16 runs, which could be important in hastening a declaration. The sheer sort of dilatory nature of so much cricket does annoy me, but at least I've got something to please me, which is that England's next man
is this fellow.
This man.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. His dad's from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
The short ball has worked though for Wagner there. Finally.
I do think that's a cue for me to retweet my Heaven 17 photo, which a lot of people like, because that was Heaven 17 jingle for
Indeed.
It was. Bit of a curate's egg of an over this, really, isn't it? By
Certainly is.
Neil Wagner. He's chucked in a wide. He chucked in a couple wide of the off stump. So dot 1, 2 wide, 1 wicket. Now he's left arm and Root, so the batsman had crossed. Root sort of flat bats that away to deep mid wicket, and there's overthrows as well. So one has been turned into 2, and there are buzzers.
So
we have a jingle for buzzers.
I think we do. There was just
we didn't dig that one out.
A moment of double teapot there from Neil Wagner. He seldom looks anything other than delighted to be playing cricket, but he looked a little bit annoyed.
Well, he's been smacked on the knee. He's just taken a wicket. He's bowled a wide, and no bowler, no matter how chirpy or cheerful they might be, likes runs via buzzers, do they?
Yeah, I can't see the jingle for
Don't
buzzers.
worry, it used to be there. Joe Root, of course, has made his third double hundred. His first was at Lords in 2014 in a drawn match against Sri Lanka. 200 not out on that occasion.
It was a big drawn match, though. I think it went
It
down
was.
to the last
It
ball.
was.
I was there.
And his second, of course, 2 years later, Old Trafford against Pakistan, 254. England won that by 330. So you could say that when Joe Root makes a double ton, England don't lose.
Like when Ian Rush scores for Liverpool.
Yes. Or they say that about a number of people. Mitchell Santner is going to be continuing the attack. He's just directing operations. In fact, he's bringing Neil Wagner slightly shorter into... where's he sending Neil Wagner? Wagner is now trotting... He's trotting right across from deep square leg.
Deep point, this right hand.
Where he's going to be sort of third man, short third man, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Thought so. Short third man is where he has ended up. Santner continues, drops this wide and short on the offside, and it is steered down to third man by Curran, of course, because he's left-handed. So that's thrown all of us. Now we now have a right-hander and a left-hander.
I can think of one bowler who's even more permanently of good humour than Neil Wagner.
That's an interesting thought.
Pavel Florin.
Oh! and his
friend.
And his bow. In comes Santner. Oh, what a strange ball that was. He gave it a sort of back of the hand. It went on with the arm. Root, again, not for the first time today, got the reverse sweep out, but got nothing on it this time.
Answer me this.
I'll try.
Trust. Joe Root has essayed the reverse sweep a dozen times.
Hold that thought for a second, Gary. In comes Wagner. All down the track.
No, he's disappointed with this.
I don't think he's got enough of that, and it's taken. Root's magnificent effort has finally ended in the hunt for quick runs. Not a Tom Clancy novel. That was The Hunt for Red October. This has been The Hunt for Quick Runs. Caught out, deep extra cover. Root has finally gone.
Here we go.
What an effort.
It feels like they should have done a bit more of a steady acceleration, really. It feels like they've suddenly tried to turn on the taps and found they've got an airlock in there. It's all gone.
I think it's fair enough.
Okay.
I cannot conceive of England losing from where they are now. So I think even if the remaining 3 wickets sort of add only sort of.
Should we give him a standing
10.
ovation, Gary?
Oh, have we got a standing ovation?
Henry Nichols did the job. Fingers up, Aussie style.
And so I think it's fair enough to do that.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they should have accelerated. Just saying that they should perhaps, ramped it up a bit rather than going slow, then suddenly trying to explode, because that always gets a bit difficult.
Yeah, too extreme.
That's enough of that.
It's like trying to go from driving a milk float to a Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and not quite managing it.
Well, what I was about to say, and maybe Joe Root has sort of proved my point, is that he tried about 12 reverse sweeps and probably got sort of 2 runs from it. He'd only tried to hit the ball back over the bowler's head once and got 6 from that. So why doesn't he do it again? But he didn't actually execute the shot particularly well. He was hitting it very inside out. He was tired, understandably so.
Maybe he's just massively stubborn and wants to get it right.
Well, it's the bearded Chris Wokes who has played
yes, we ought to
32 matches, so this is his 33rd match for England. He averages nearly 28, 27.93.
Chris walking on sunshine. Whoa, he recently
And Santner is going to come over the wicket to the left-handed Curran, who just guides this to point. They will take a quick single, and Chris Wokes will get an early opportunity to face the ball. Yeah, we're just watching how well judged that catch was, actually, and it was beautifully judged. Root really came down the track to meet it, didn't he? He was practically halfway down. Santner, I think, recognised his intent and dropped it shorter. So well bowled him.
It was a good catch because those are often swirling away from you, aren't they?
He's a left arm around to the right-handed Wokes, and there is a short mid-wicket in there, and that's picked out immediately by Wokes with his first ball, but all the way along the ground. So he's not come swinging from the off, and this one he's able to just flick off his legs to mid-wicket, and there's no run.
So just state of the game is that England lead by 84. Now that means that even if England are bowled out in the next 5 minutes, that there's no way England will be behind, I would suggest, at the start of the 5th day. So New Zealand have no incentive whatsoever to declare because they want to win this series 1-0. So the only way England can lose this is if they bowl New Zealand out with a lead of 80, and then they collapse horribly in a mad run chase, which I think is exceedingly unlikely. So I think the only results that are possible from here are a draw or an England win. So it makes every sense to me to keep blasting away here.
Well, no, yeah, I think we're with you, Gary. The lead, as you say, 84, 459 for 7.
If Shai Hope wants to tweet me and say the last time he said that.
Yes. 1 for 85 for Santner. Neil Wagner, the man who has metal knees, we reckon, or some kind of armour on his knees that he wasn't completely put out of commission by that ball that thumped into his knee.
Messenger says, I've now taken 2 wickets in 15 minutes. Maybe I should have got up earlier or stayed in bed.
Well, misses, yeah.
I think you should have stayed in bed.
Not that stops you listening to us, I wouldn't have hoped.
No.
459 for 7. Neil Wagner has 2 for 116 or 33 overs, but he continues manfully on. He's going to be left arm over to the left-handed Curran, short and wide, and Curran really doesn't time this at all, and it bobbles its way to Santner at cover, and no run.
I think we're due a change at the end of this.
I think we are, yes, we are.
We may well be.
Time flies when you're losing wickets.
Well, it does. It does. It always amazes me how when you're sitting in the green room and your relaxation time, such as it is, seems to go on forever, and yet when you're actually doing commentary, you suddenly go, "Hello, have I really had half an hour there?"
Well,
Are you sure?
I'm going to attempt an hour and a half power nap now before my next commentary stint.
Oh, I think I might be sliding into one of your two gentlemen's seats, but I can't remember which one. I might want to rephrase that. As in comes Wagner. In comes Wagner. And that is just eased away to cover by Curran.
After 2 successive cock-ups by England, you might definitely want to...
4:59.
We're being ejected.
I'm going into the Gaddy seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm out.
And you're out before I get to
Like
it.
Dickie Bird, you say, out!
4:59 for 7. Curran on 2. So we've got 2 new batsmen at the at the crease. What is
It's all
going
going
on?
wrong.
It's all going horribly wrong. Pulled by Curran down to deep mid wicket. They're happy enough just to take the single. So 2 for 117 for Neil Wagner. Dun, 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 dun.
And we just had a tweet in. It's a musical tweet about that couple of seconds of commentary, and it's...
Yep.
Yes, Benny Hill. He used to live just round the corner from where I was, in Teddington. Home of 2 Ton Ted, of course.
Yeah. Teddington Lock, Middlesex. There's
Very
Thames
much.
TV. You see.
Yeah, Teddington Lock. Yes. Yep. Wagner starts his run from the city end. He's past umpire Damascena. And Wokes, I think they've got that. That's gone through to Watling, and I think Wokes has edged it. He has. It was an airy old waft.
Go back to bed, Jez, for God's sake.
Messi Jez appears to have arisen like some ghoul, a vampire of death, and is taken 3 wickets.
Was it one of these, by the way?
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
Well, he was taken by Waddling.
It was. He was out for a big fat quack-up. We should do the change now, I think.
Yeah.
Previous high score, of course, of 137, of which he's fallen 137 short on this occasion, as Chris Wokes.
Yeah, it was an excellent innings at 137. Should we play you a marketing jingle?
We're going to swap. Who's coming into the ball-by-ball seat?
I know I'm moving out.
It's going to be Steve Jones.
Okay, here's...
We need your alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
I don't know. You put on a partnership of 193 and then you lose 3 for 5.
Well, we did say that... oh, Lord, there we go. There's dodgy old...
Yeah, we've still got 1 ball left of this over, of course.
We did say that was likely to happen.
Yeah, as you say, the hunt for quick runs, Quick Runch, the lesser known Sean Connery film, has led it to a mini collapse. But hoping to arrest the collapse and add some further quick runs is England's number 10.
I don't believe I'm hearing a single thing out of my microphone. I don't.
No,
know if
your
anyone can hear
headphones.
me.
The headphones are bad.
Oh, are they?
I can hear you fine.
We can hear you fine.
These were the headphones that Wes was using last night.
We
I
can
was
hear you.
listening at home, and I couldn't hear a single word Wes says.
I can hear you absolutely fine, Tony.
Righto. Okay. What about I was looking for Jofra Archer, wasn't I?
Hold that thought after this ball
I
from Neil Wagner, well outside off stump. Archer obligingly leaves to BJ Watling and allows us to play his jingle.
Here he is.
And now it's time for Jofra Archer.
You'd think Curran and Archer put on some quick runs at the end of the second innings in the first test and gave England hope of saving the test. 2 steps in the gully as Wagner's in. Last ball of the over, a short ball which Archer ducks, taken by BJ Watling. There is no run. England 460 for 8, lead by 85. 1 ball, 1 over due until the second or third new ball, in fact, is due. Will New Zealand take it? I'm not sure they will.
You took the words out my mouth there. That was exactly what I was wondering. Would they take it now? There's been a bit of a flurry of wickets.
I think they will.
You think they will?
I don't think New Zealand want to take wickets at this point. They want to take as much time out of the game as possible, I think, but all will be revealed in 6 balls or possibly more time.
So I've got another question for you two gentlemen.
Should we have some tweets while you formulate the question?
Well, the only one I've got here is from Anna, which I don't think has been mentioned before. It's perfectly normal to give Root a standing ovation alone in your living room, right? Question
Yes.
mark. And the answer is yes, Anna. So.
My question was actually going to be, when has Jofra Archer bowled so far for England when England have been on top and looking to win a game rather than be in a more defensive position?
Last Ashes test?
Well, I guess it would have to be during the Ashes, yeah.
Because that's the
But
only
I'm
one she's
trying
played.
to
Which one?
The 5th test.
Was it the 5th one?
England were well on top in the 5th test.
We
They
were, yes we were. Okay,
England were on top at times during the Lord's test where he made his debut and he was really giving Australia the hurry up.
Gave Smith a real old.
Yeah, he did.
Same too.
Santner took the wicket of Joe Root, and very nicely indeed. It was an excellent bit of bowling by Santner, just held it back a little bit. This one is faster and flatter outside off stump, and Curran smashes it out to Matt Henry on the deep point boundary, who nearly bowls over BJ Watling with the throw that I think jumped up off a practice wicket, and BJ Watling crumpled in behind it. And took it well. There is no run.
In fact, we applauded that ball to Santner, didn't we, in the green room?
It was very nicely bowled indeed,
so
I think.
impressed.
a few Crick Tracker messages, Steve, when you get the chance to get there.
Where?
On Facebook.com/Crick Tracker, which is the second tab. No, that second tab there. It's not a touchscreen. As Mitchell Santner is in to Jofra Archer, fires this one in. A little hint of straightening, but Archer just is able to defend back to the bowler. There is no run. No, unfortunately, we're not living in Minority Report and everything is touchscreen.
I was about to say the fact that Steve thought that a Guerrilla Cricket, probably 5th hand laptop from circa 1979, is likely to have a touch screen is quite sweet. But there we go.
Nothing's working anyway. So.
That's fired in flat and a little hint of straightening again, and Archer defends slightly off sort of the leading half of the bat, if that makes any sense, out into the leg side, or it just drops down in front of him. There is no run.
C.R. Shihab.
Hold that thought as Archer tosses this up, or rather Santner tosses this up very slow outside off stump, and Archer has to wait for it and pushes it into the offside. They might get a buzzer. No, they won't. Tim Southey was in position to back up, so Archer's off the mark with a single.
Messages says, Vampire of Death, that's a bit strong, Tony. I'll try not to take it personally.
No, don't take it personally, Mrs. Ever.
And he continues, the fact is that England's best chance of a win lies in New Zealand starting to bat ASAP, so maybe all my wickets are actually assisting.
Oh, very good point.
I think there is something to what you say.
Good point.
As Santner's in, penultimate ball of the over, outside off stump. Curran tries to smash this into the offside, arrives in very slowly, and it comes off the bottom part of the bat back to Mitchell Santner. There is no run. So we've got it's very much a one-day field, actually. We've got a short third man, an extra cover, a mid-wicket, a short fine leg, and a man back halfway to the mid-off boundary, and everyone else is back. And Archer calls Curran through for the single, and rightly so, as Curran nudges it into the leg side. They take the one, 3 runs off the over. Curran on 5, Archer on 1. England 462 for 8, lead by 87.
Did you find Crick Tracker, Steve?
No, it's all disappeared off the machine.
C.R. Shahib says, how thin are you? You should eat something immediately. I don't know who he's talking to. Gaddafi Shakes goes, yay, Route 200. So he's celebrating that. Hello to Amnur Silam, who's saying hi to us.
Hi.
And Premchand Kumar says, land okay. Not land ahoy, but land okay. I don't quite know what that means. Or L and okay. Anyway, we're glad
England
you're here
okay?
and welcome. Could be that. Could be. Yes.
Yeah, there's a long conference between Watling, Williamson, Taylor, and Southey, I guess, about whether to take the new ball, which is now available. 160 overs have been bowled. Wagner's currently holding the old ball, so I don't think New Zealand have taken it immediately. Suspected that might be the case. Wagner and Santner might just try and slow England down a bit.
Jeff Perkins tweets, well, there aren't many vampires of life, and this being cricket, the vampire description is always right.
Well, true.
In comes the indefatigable Neil Wagner. Full delivery, and Curran swings it into the leg side. The camera operator completely lost it and panned basically upwards as the ball dribbled out to mid-wicket. There is no run. Sam Curran's not a bad man to have when you need quick runs.
On YouTube, Lawrence Jameson is telling us that Fidel Edwards on Twitter is very critical of Root's batting slow.
Batting slow.
Batting slow, a little harsh, I think.
I think he stepped it up very nicely after lunch, he and Pope. So we've got a wide...
Fidel Edwards not a man famed for his batting,
No,
to be
no.
fair, is he? Well, there you
Got
go.
a wider slip, a gully, extra cover on a mid-wicket, who are sort of set back on what would be the edge of the ring in a one-day international, and there's a deep pointer who fields this, which is Jeet Raval, as Sam Curran picks up a single. New Zealand, with this spread field, are definitely just trying to slow things down.
This is the last session before tea, isn't it?
Yes.
The last commentary session before tea, yes. We have 17 minutes to go until...
So I'm just thinking if they are thinking tea might be the point to declare, or do you think they'll go on past tea?
England, I think just beyond tea.
Yeah, I would, but I've just got a feeling they might be thinking we're going to go big and we're going to go hard. And
Wagner outside off stump, and Archer, not getting the memo, leaves outside off stump through to the keeper. There is no run.
Well, maybe no, but maybe
he's
it's
waiting.
only my memo.
Maybe he's waiting for the ball in his particular scoring zone.
Joe Root could well have received the memo from me and decided to put it file it under B for bin.
J for
or
John.
S for Shredder. Two slips on the gully, backward point, extra cover. Mid offset about halfway back to the boundary and a mid on, and I imagine two men back on the hook as Wagner goes in outside off stump, and Archer plays a flowing, fluid,
very
albeit
sedate,
slow, pleasant cover drive straight to the field. There is no run. That was very much a first ball in the nets shot. Just feeling bat on ball.
Looked like he had all the time in the world, that shot, didn't it?
Didn't he make a 40 odd in the last game?
He and Sam Curran batted quite well at the end of that.
20 or 30, I think.
Didn't
wasn't
see
it?
England home, but
Well, it's all
he did
safe
make a
there.
few.
They were smoting nicely for a while, weren't they? It was quite fun.
As Wagner's in, fifth ball of the over is a short ball, which Archer, none of this theatrics, none of this falling to the floor, just a little bend of the knees and lets it loop over his shoulder.
He's a
There is
cool
no
individual,
run.
isn't he?
Yes,
He's
he
a
is.
very cool individual.
But it belies the sort of the competitiveness of Jofra Archer. I think he's there's a quiet steeliness to Jofra Archer.
Well, I wouldn't want to argue with him.
No. Well, a test match to win. England with a lead on the board. Carte blanche to go.
Did we say something
full
about
steam.
they ended up
Be interesting.
leading by 80 and all bowled out?
Round the wicket comes Neil Wagner very wide in the crease, spears this in towards middle and off. Archer blocks back to him. There is no run. One run off the over. Good stuff from Neil Wagner, doing very much what the team need him to do and slow things down. England lead by 89. We've seen that Wagner's, as you say, is sort of a curate's egg of a spell, not just of an over. 5 overs, no maidens, 2 for 21. Including being whacked on the ankle, nearly conceding 5 penalty runs off the helmet, and causing the downfall of Ollie Pope and of Sam Curran. Exclusively bowling wide across the right-hander. Another conference as they decide whether they want to take the new ball this time. Sorry, Chris Wokes, yes. Another long conference that we see through reverse stump mic.
This is what I would call time wasting now.
Any tweets?
No, they've all gone quiet again.
Anything on YouTube or Crick Tracker, friends?
I haven't got anything on there.
Not at the moment, actually. We're certainly we have bags and bags of company on Crick Tracker, but not necessarily messages.
Please do if you are watching us on Crick Tracker. Well, firstly, share the stream with your friends. That definitely does help us out, and will make the party even more fun and better attended. And do leave us a comment, and we will read you out and respond to you. Do a change of bowling. Mitchell Santner is out of the attack, and this man comes back on.
He's so pretty, that Tim Southey. He's so pretty and witty and bright. But Tim Southey's not as pretty as Kane Williamson.
2 for 84 in his 36 overs so far. Tim Southey has a little bit of a chat with Kane Williamson. He's bowling to the left-handed Sam Curran. There's 2 gullies, basically. A cover, a mid-off, a mid-on, a mid-wicket, a man back at deep square leg. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll try and give you the placement of the other fielder when I can. Possibly at deep point as Southey comes in over the wicket. Curran has a wild slash outside off stump, and BJ Watling takes the ball and is coincidentally shot by an archer as he takes it and falls to the floor in disgust and despair.
Didn't get up, did it?
It didn't get up at all. There was a cross-seam delivery from Tim Southey, and it just skidded through low outside off stump. You see how Watling just sort of bodily collapses as he Ooh, it was not actually as far away as we thought from the bottom edge there on that occasion.
Is there any other way to collapse?
Mentally?
Oh, well, yes.
Spiritually?
Brilliant. Right, yes, okay, fair enough.
Gully has moved...
Like a pack of cards.
Gully has moved back a little bit to basically backward point as Southey, again wide of the crease. That's a glorious shot by Sam Curran. He's seen that so early, and despite the attentions of those men backward of square, says, right, I'm not having any of that. Smashes it in front of square, past extra cover for 4. Lovely shot by Curran.
Just my word.
He saw that so early. He is a beautiful player to watch sometimes through the offside. Not necessarily sort of textbook stylish, but he times the ball so nicely. There's now a very interesting field in the offside. There's a sort of extra cover, and then in a sort of parallel line with him, if you basically draw a line right from him, there's a man set back at sort of halfway house extra cover, and a deep point as well, who was the other fielder that I couldn't see. Southey is definitely... his plan is definitely to angle the ball across the left-handed Sam Curran from over the wicket, and he does so again. Ross Taylor at sort of deep slip fields, and there is no run at short third man right on the edge of the boundary. This is a one-day field now.
Ravinair poses an interesting question. If it goes for a 6 off a keeping side's helmet, is that an 11?
No. Firstly, I'm not actually sure that's physically possible, unless you inside it.
Well, I'm sure Archer
It did
probably.
nearly happen once. It did not that long ago. Was it against Australia this summer?
What, for 6? Off
Yeah.
Well, Archer, the ball went for 6 off the stumps.
Yeah, that was impressive in the World Cup, wasn't it? Slower ball from Tim Southey. Curran comes down the track, loses his shape in it off the bottom edge of the bat. It comes off thigh pad and rolls into the onside. There is no run. I do know that for 6 runs to be scored, bat has to be involved. So, for example, if the ball bounces, goes over the keeper's head and clears the boundary on the full, it's only 4 byes, not 6.
Well,
so you have to play, if you edged it onto the helmet behind the wicketkeeper,
it would have to hit the helmet on the full and then somehow go over the boundary on the full, which seems geometrically unlikely.
Yes.
As Southey's in fifth ball of the over, again wide of Curran's off stump, and he flashes this one very powerfully, but there is a man back on the deep point boundary. It's Matt Henry who hurtles the ball back in over the stumps. It's good throwing arm. He's got Matt Henry, brings the right-handed Jofra Archer onto strike, the last ball of the over, and the field will change.
Mog poses a question as well. So, Pope and Burns locked in place in the side now? Question mark.
I think certainly for the next few tests, yes. Probably Sibley as well. I wouldn't expect many changes to the... I think maybe Crawley may drop out for the first test against South Africa for either Bairstow or Moeen.
And Chewy Andrew, after the tea break in the New Zealand-England game, I will have Guerrilla Cricket on and we'll be watching Australia versus Pakistan.
There's a far more...
That is style.
Far more of a contest here than in Adelaide, as Southey's in outside off stump. Archer, well, I think he was attempting to hit that through deep point, then through deep cover, and then ends up losing his shape and toe, ending it to mid-on. But they take the run. I don't think they'll really care that much. Archer will keep the strike. He's on 6 runs off that over. England now is at 470 for 8, leading by 95.
Yeah, they'd like to get it to 3-figure lead, wouldn't they, without a doubt. They should do, but you just never know when you're 8 down. Things can happen quickly.
Ravinair answers the Burns and Pope question. Burns in yes, Pope, grey smoke.
Grey smoke?
Yes.
Undecided.
Well, that's halfway between being undecided and deciding, because it's black smoke when they haven't quite decided. So grey smoke is...
Be a good title for a Western series.
Grey smoke. Grey smoke. Oliver Pope.
And a full side. Is that Morg's Tim Southey jingle? Question mark. In which case, is he the only one who thinks Tim Southey and Kane Williamson are pretty?
Very good question. I do wonder.
Well, I think
Wagner continuing.
Oh, yes.
Archer goes deep in the crease and in one-day fashion launches Neil Wagner like he's a club medium pacer back over the sight screen for 6.
I believe in miracles since you came to bat. You 60 things, I believe in miracles since you came out to bat. You 60 things.
So it hit it so hard that it rolled up the hill, bounced off a chain link fence, went under a chain link fence, and then a man with a double ice cream scoop wandered up to it, looked under the fence, and went, Nah.
maybe it is time to take the new ball on the grounds that the other one has disappeared into the.
That's pretty
nearby
impressive from
park.
Archie, because that's quite a steep grass bank behind that sight screen, and it's rolled all the way up it. Oh no, someone has now gone into the weeds and got the ball. A man in a Barmy Army polo shirt and
He's
a
climbing the fence.
and a blue pair of mirrored sunglasses has done very well, actually. This is not a bad throw down the hill. Yes, someone hopped the chain link fence and they got the ball back and has hopped back into the field of play. So 6 runs to Jofra Archer. He's moves on to 8. England now lead by over 101 as Wagner's in. Bowles full delivery, that bowled him. Wagner has his immediate revenge and punches the air and screams at Jofra Archer. Neil Wagner does not like being hit for 6. You would not like Neil Wagner when he's angry. He has 4 for 124. Archer goes for 8. England lead by 101 as they are 476 for 9. It's not a no ball, and so a classic backyard 6 and out for Jofra Archer.
Quite literally backyard, seeing as that's probably where it ended up. Someone's backyard.
Someone's
You
had to-
kind of had a feeling that was coming there.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself as Wagner was running in, so Jofra Archer's going to try and hit the skin off this, whatever Wagner bowls.
I was possibly expecting it to be Archer's head.
And I'll tell you, there's going to be people watching this anywhere in Hamilton, and they're going to be going, I wonder where that spot was that was so easy to get over the fence and in the ground. So
Yeah, the
So they
fence
could
does,
get-
the
get
fence
in on
does
the
seem to
sheets.
sort of run out behind the sight screen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's at the
Yeah.
city end.
yeah, so that's right. So if you're
If you're
looking
coming,
to get in on the
if you're
tomorrow-
approaching the ground from the west, no, the east.
or from wherever the city end is, you want to be, if you're facing the city end, you want to be to the left of where the track would be as you're approaching the ground.
Yeah, it was a full delivery. Archer had a big swing at it. Head went slightly up in the air, and he bottom edged it into the crease and then back on to the stumps. But an entertaining little innings from Jofra Archer, who is saving himself for much more serious work. And the man who was dismissed twice by Neil Wagner out Maunganui strides out to the middle. Neil Wagner on a fifer.
What do we think for Wagner? Short again, or because we know Stuart Broad doesn't like it up him? Or
He did dismiss him with 2 full balls at Mount Maunganui.
I was about to say, yeah, is it the psychology of what worked in the previous test?
I think he might go short, because I think if he puts it up in Broad's half, he might just have a wild swing at it.
Yeah, I think you could be right. The magical 3-figure lead has been achieved.
In comes Wagner to Stuart Broad. Whatever happens, it'll happen quickly. It is full. It's a full toss, in fact, and Broad just in behind it blocks back to Neil Wagner. There is no run, so that was a bit anticlimactic.
Well, now, you see, if Broad had his thinking head on,
Would he nudge that for a single?
Well, he does want it to strike, but he would be thinking, well, I might as well try and give Sammy Curran as much of it as I can. Yeah, to look for the single.
Nudge it. Conor McNally, I attended a meeting in work and I come back to this. I don't know if our meetings are getting long or English collapsing is getting faster.
I mean, this is a collapse in very special circumstances. That's a good full delivery from Neil Wagner. Slight bit of swing into Stuart Broad, a bit of reverse, I guess, with this old ball. And yes, it was well played by Broady. Jabbed down from his great height, all 6'6" of him, and blocks back to Wagner. There is no run.
Yeah, so you can see he was clearly looking for the Yorker there, wasn't he? And well done, Stuart Broad. He played that very tidily.
5th ball over the over as Wagner's in left arm over the wicket to left hand to Stuart Broad. Oh, a beauty! Wagner has his 5. There's a beautiful slower ball which Stuart Broad was about 3 weeks early on. Played right over the top of it. It dips in to take the base off stump, and that is Neil Wagner's 9th Test fifer. He's plugged away manfully all day and all of yesterday. 5 for 124 in 35.5 overs. Stuart Broad gone to Wagner for the 3rd time in the series. It was a lovely knuckle ball from Neil Wagner. Yeah, you can tell Wagner enjoyed that. Yeah, Broad gone to Wagner for the 3rd time in the series. A 3-ball duck for Stuart Broad. England bowled out for 476, lead by exactly 101 with the key men Ollie Pope, 75 off 202 balls with just 6 fours. His first Test 50. Rory Burns, his second Test 100 was run out almost immediately afterwards. 101 off 209 with 15 fours. But the man of the moment, Joseph Edward Root, the England captain, his first double 100. In fact, I think, his first double 100 as England captain. His longest Test innings, his second highest Test score, 22 fours and one glorious straight 6 off Matt Henry. 226 off 441 he made, and the next highest score was 11 not out for Sam Curran. Plus extras who got into the 20s. A nice fight, a nice valuable nut from Mr. Straz again. 4 buys, 14 leg buys, 1 no ball and 1 wide. The bowling figures: Neil Wagner, the pick of the bowlers, 35.5 overs, 3 maidens, 5 for 124. Tim Southey, 37 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 90. Matt Henry, 33 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for 87. Daryl Mitchell on Test debut, 22 overs, 5 maidens, none for 69. And Mitchell Santner, 35 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 88. So England will have a little. Will they have a little dart, or would that be tea?
The tea. I was going to say, surely that's tea now. They won't come out.
Yeah, with 2 minutes to go, there should be tea taken. So England will have 4 sessions at New Zealand.
Well, the only other consideration, according to the weather forecast at the moment, and I take no credit for knowing this immediately, we have our weather forecaster in Perth, aka Messi Jez. And apparently there is a very strong chance of a washout from lunchtime tomorrow.
Oh, right.
However, if England were to bowl, well, they are going to bowl after tea and take, say, 3-4 quick wickets, all of a sudden...
Tomorrow morning might be tough.
Tomorrow morning could be quite interesting. So it's going to be a big session. What should we put on over tea?
Can I just rattle out a few tweets?
Oh, you better had. You can tell me where to go.
Because I quite like Anna Forsyth's last one. Never mind when he's angry. I'm not sure I like Neil Wagner at rest. He has a mean face.
Is that it?
And Mog just suggesting the dismissal jingle you just played is on the verge of being one for Sibley.
Well, in the meantime, we are going to have some highlights of, looks like Pakistan and New Zealand.
From 2014.
From 2014. Here it comes.
Yeah, so am I. I want to read that as well,
Miraculous
because
metamorphosis of Mark. That's wonderful.
Mark Craig is a number